So we have got the passenger side mount done as well as it needs to be done for now. We might make it prettier later, but leave that for another time. So now it's time to start working on the driver's side, especially now that we have verified our location and angles within reason. But I actually got started on it the other day, so let me show you where we're at, and then we can talk about what all still needs to be done. So the other night, I actually had my son in here with me. We were working on this together. So I actually already had these kind of quasi-made for the previous engine, but the fitments weren't perfect. So that's now tacked in. And because this isn't it's not a squared surface, so it's not so easy as it was for this side, where we were able to just put the two plates together and put a single hole through both of them at once, and they'd line up. So in this case, we've got a hole, you can see there, just in there. And so then I made another plate that would fit approximately the right depth. And then once I had it relatively fitting, then put the bushing through with a drill bit, and then just use the drill bit to scratch a mark on the opposing plate. Now, in trying to make that shape fit, this was really close to fitting, except that I kept hitting the engine. I couldn't actually get it, squared up to the chassis there. So I cut some distance off, and well, it was too much. Then this guy was like way out there, and I was like, well, that's not gonna work. So I started over again, and that's just kind of the way it goes. Good opportunity to showcase that, yeah, sometimes you make mistakes and you just gotta move on and try again. So you can see this was my previous one, and yeah, so shapes don't exactly match because, you put in the engine bay, you see where it collides, then you come over here to your flap disc and you take a little bit off, and then you go back and you put it in and you see where it hits, and you take it to, so anyway, point being, so this now fits, so now we got to tack that in. But before I do, because unlike the other side where this isn't necessarily so square and obvious, so that's gonna sit there, right? I am going to do a little bit of work to clean up the shape of this a little bit, because I'm not gonna have another chance to kind of clean up the shape until after I pull the engine back out again. And so I wanna just make this a little bit more, so I'm gonna round that there, and then probably taper this in a little bit. So we got to do that, and then once we've got that tacked in, then we can put our bushing in, just like it is on the other side, and then we can start working on coping up a tube and laying it against that plate there. And also for reference, before I get into this, I do plan to likely reinforce all of these mounts in various different ways, because just pulling off of this shape here is almost a guaranteed way to end up warping and adding extra stress onto this. So I am going to try to add some other plates and other directions and other angles. I'll probably also box in some of the top of this and also the side and bottom of this to reinforce the two together. Like on this side, it's really easy to see how this is going to be done, where I can very easily put in a plate that comes up and around, right? And that will really, really strengthen this whole section. And then I can come diagonally off of that with another plate on both sides, which again, just adds a lot of rigidity to this whole structure. So that way, it's not able to so easily bend. I can also box in some of the top probably up to like that bend if I really wanted to. I'm a little bit wary about attaching to the fender well side here. There isn't really much strength in that piece of metal anyway. It's pretty thin here, so you don't have much here that's actually helping you anyway. But getting a little bit more of this surface attached may not be a bad idea. So again, those are all things that can happen when the engine's out again. So all we're really worried about engineering and getting fabbed up here is just getting the engine into a position where we can then move on to the next step. This doesn't have to hold 1,000 horsepower right now. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We can do all of that once the engine is back out of the bay and we have more space to work around all this. All right, let's get started. Super handy. I already have this coped tube, which is actually way better done than I remember being able to do. I haven't done this a whole lot, so I'm actually pretty happy with seeing how that already sits. Yeah, now it's literally just getting the other side to length. If I wanted to, I could take a little bit more off of this side and angle it a little bit more towards the center of that plate. I might go ahead and do that. Yeah. Hang with me. I'll go adjust this. Also get you guys in a better view here. Well, duty calls of being a parent. I might get back to this more later tonight. If so, this will be in the same episode, which you'll probably know by looking at the timestamp already. But I'm really close to having this well enough done. I've been playing with my welding settings a lot. My welds on the other mount were way high on the wire feed to amperage ratio, so they weren't digging in as much as I would like. When I would get enough heat to get penetration, I just had a huge amount of wire on top. So I'm finally getting better penetration, but I'm also so is my splatter. So my splatter is like sinking in. So I think I've overcorrected a bit much. I dialed it back a little bit, and I was actually getting really nice welds right when I tripped my breaker and decided I should just be done welding, let everything, all my wiring cool down, let the welder cool down. So I'm definitely getting better penetration now. It's going great. I don't know that I really need to get this more welded up before it goes into the car for now. I mean, I need to get around this seam a little bit better. There's a little bit unwelded there on that surface. And I also haven't added any other cross brace supports, so eventually I'll have another piece that goes something like that over there to gusset that in a little bit. But this one also has a lot more surface area touching it than the other one anyway, because it's a lot more vertical versus parallel, which is great. But at any rate, I am going to go clean up and go do family stuff for a little bit.